Welcome to Freshman Film Room. I introed and explained this series last week when we covered Sean East, definitely check out that video, but a quick recap. In this series, we'll be breaking down film for all 7 of UMass's incoming freshmen, analyzing some strengths and weaknesses and potential fit, but this isn't a definitive scouting report, just a primer ahead of the season. Today, we'll look at TJ Weeks. One of 3 Woodstock Academy products joining the Minutemen this season, Weeks is a 6'4", 185-pound wing from Warwick, Rhode Island who flew well under the recruiting radar even during a stellar prep year at Woodstock. The son of former Minuteman Tyrone Weeks, his only offer was from UMass despite having one obvious elite skill. Simply put, Weeks is a sniper. He's an elite shooter from deep who can get hot in a hurry, and he shot a little over 41% from 3 last season, an excellent mark considering he was taking over 6 threes a game for Woodstock. From time to time, he'll really catch fire. He went 7 for 8 from 3 1/2 against Redemption Christian in February, and earlier in the season he torched Commonwealth Academy for 37 points on an absurd 8 of 9 from deep, hitting anything and everything he took in his best performance of the season. Rhythm, catch and shoot threes are really his bread and butter, but Weeks can also hit off the dribble, particularly when he's stepping into threes in transition. He has a smooth, quick release and can take advantage of even the smallest of open spaces, getting shots off before defenders can contest. While he's a solid passer, Weeks doesn't really rack up the assists, but one thing he does do is take care of the ball. Something that drove Matt McCall crazy last season was the turnovers. The Minutemen were the most careless team in the A-10, turning the ball over more than 14 times a game in conference play, a full turnover more than the next team on the list. In 23 games for Woodstock this season, Weeks turned the ball over just 10 times. 10. To put that in perspective, here's a list of all the A-10 players who played at least 500 minutes last season and turned the ball over 10 times or fewer. There's Justin Williams from George Washington, who had just 9 turnovers in 535 minutes, and that's it. That's the whole list. My point here is this. TJ Weeks is careful with the ball, and he's not going to commit very many silly turnovers for the Minutemen this season. On the defensive end, Weeks is an engaged defender with good instincts and active hands, and is very rarely caught out of position or late on a rotation. Having spent a year under Tony Bergeron at Woodstock, Weeks has plenty of experience in Bergeron's pressing defense. He knows when to swarm and when to trap, and always seems to be in the right place, leading to plenty of steals. On the flip side, while Weeks doesn't have any big glaring weaknesses in his game, there are a couple small ones to consider. He's not the most explosive athlete in the world, which I don't think really matters considering the way he shoots, but it is something to note. More importantly, because he's such a high-level shooter, teams will try and run him off the three-point line, and he's not a great slasher that can blow past closeouts. Here's an example. In February, Weeks torched Commonwealth for 37 points on 8 of 9 shooting from 3, and when the teams met 2 weeks later, Commonwealth looked to attack him every time he caught the ball outside the arc. Every time he catches it, there's a defender tight to him, and even when he's approaching the three-point line in transition with some space, listen to the Commonwealth coach. He's yelling, "Shooter, shooter." Weeks finished the game with 4 points and missed all 3 triples he took. It's something Weeks saw plenty last season as teams looked to contain the damage he could do from deep. Teams were scared of his shooting, and rightly so, but he doesn't quite have the game going to the basket yet to take advantage of it. It's not that he can't drive, he can and he does, but it's something that's still coming along. He does show flashes, and he's a good finisher at the rim when he gets there. He's crafty out of the triple threat position and can get a defender leaning with a subtle jab step and take it inside, and if that part of his game continues to develop, he'll be a really scary proposition for any defense. So, let's recap. Above all else, TJ Weeks is an elite shooter. He can get hot and stay hot and should be an excellent three-point shooter at the next level. His quick release makes him dangerous even without much space, and he's a solid passer who takes care of the ball without many turnovers. He's also a good finisher at the rim and can beat a man from a triple threat position. He's also a smart, active defender who knows how to press in Tony Bergeron's system, making him an ideal 3-and-D player for Matt McCall. He doesn't have any major weaknesses, though it should be noted that he's not an exceptional athlete and could use some work going to the rim, and teams may look to game plan against him and run him off the three-point line. I do want to add one more thing. The guy's a winner. He was part of a Woodstock team that went 38-2 and was ranked 2nd in the nation at one point last season, and he also led Bishop Hendricken to back-to-back state titles when he was still in high school. Finally, I've tried to avoid the Carl Pierre comparisons because TJ Weeks is his own person and player, and it's not an original thought, but it's really hard to ignore the resemblance. They're both elite shooters and smart active defenders who don't quite jump out of the gym or slash hard to the rim. They're both lanky wings with quick releases. They weirdly look kind of similar and even move kind of similar. Weeks is listed at 6'4" and 185 pounds. And last season, Pierre was listed at, you guessed it, 6'4" and 185 pounds. When I watch Weeks bomb away on consecutive possessions like he did against Redemption, hitting in transition with quick releases like it's nothing, I can't help but see Carl Pierre in my head, finding open space in transition in Providence, torching the Friars on consecutive possessions in that eruption back in December. For reference, here are some stats from Weeks' year at Woodstock. And here are Pierre's career numbers so far at UMass. So, it won't shock you that my ceiling for Weeks is basically Carl Pierre 2.0, and while he probably won't quite get the minutes Pierre did on a very undermanned UMass team 2 years ago, I think he's going to be really good and can make a real impact this season. At the very least, he should be a solid 3-and-D option off the bench. However, I can see him finding starting minutes in a smaller lineup, and him and Pierre running either wing would have any A10 defense sprinting on closeouts, just hoping for the best. Thanks for watching. You can follow the Collegian on Twitter at MDCollegian and at MDC_sports, and myself at Amin_Tory, and make sure to check out all of our content at dailycollegian.com. This has been Freshman Film Room. Next week, we'll look at CJ Jackson.